All right, YouTube, this Detroit's HPTV. It's Tuesday morning, and we got a lot to talk about. It seems like every week that we get closer to the election, we get another surprise or something else happens. And I know at this point, none of you guys believe in coincidences because this is a second attempt on Donald Trump. Now, never in the history of this country have you seen a presidential candidate attempted to be taken out twice within a few months. Now, after the first time, it was seen that he would get more security. But obviously he didn't because the man was in a few yards of him at his golf course. Now, they got questions about how did he know he was going to be there at that time, which is a good question because you got a AK-47 and you wait in the bushes. How long will you wait? Will you wait for days not knowing when the man is going to show up? Or do you have information that he's going to be there and you wait? So there's a lot of questions. But with the way this government surveils and censors its citizens, there are very few conversations that are not heard. It reminds me of the situation way back in the 60s with Malcolm X and how the CIA and the feds told him that there would be attempts on his life because they had been listening to phone taps and had been surveilling situations. Now, with all these iPhones and technology and satellites and drones and different apparatuses that they use to surveil, how could they not know? How could they not know that this guy was planning something of this nature? Then you have to look at this. Donald Trump, this is the second attempt. What's going on with his security? And Biden, if he really cared, he is the sitting president. He can provide Trump with the necessary security to protect him if he wanted to. If he wanted to. That would be big of him. That would be taking a moral high road. But at this point, it seems as if the left wants something to happen to Trump. And that's a bad look because it would definitely plunge this country into chaos. Because you have to think about this. The Democrats, they always talk about Trump supporters and how Trump supporters are prone to violence. But it seems like all the real violent rhetoric comes from the left and comes from the Democrat. They've been calling the man Hitler and calling him a Nazi and saying he's a threat to democracy, making it almost appear that anybody who takes him out will be a hero or a martyr. So when will they say, well, you know what? We are in the White House. He needs more protection. But because it's Donald Trump, they only giving him enough to secure his immediate area where he's at. And you're going to see the detectives say as much. No surveillance in the perimeters to where he may be. But it seems somebody wants the chaos that will ensue from something happening to Trump. Now, I said this before. The Democrats on the left, they talk very radical and reckless towards conservatives. You know what I mean? They say that Trump supporters are a cult. You know, they say that his followers are or supporters are brainwashed. They say a lot of inflammatory things toward conservatives as if conservatives started doing the things that they do, they could withstand it. Do you think the people who support the Democratic Party can stand up to conservatives? Because on the left, it seems they're already compromised. You know, they're running on unaliving children. They're running on uh, the regender assignment of children, open borders. Is really a party of debauchery, like I always say. It's not a party of morality. It's an anti-God, anti-Bible, anti-religion party. It's an inclusionary party. It's DI ran party because anything goes. But at this point, if something happens to Trump, what does that look like? And why are they willing to allow something to happen to this man? Trump has over 80 million followers that support him. And with the tone of the rhetoric, what does that look like? What does it look like if something really happens to Trump and MAGA responds? That could throw this whole country into chaos, and they know it. But then in chaos, there won't be an election. There'll be a threat to national security, and there'll be lockdowns, and there'll be National Guard in the street. And the president, who's ever sitting, and their vice president will probably postpone an election because of the civil unrest. All these things are possibilities. But the main thing that you have to realize is if the rhetoric isn't toned down, what's going to happen during election time? They say that Trump won't concede. What if the Democrats don't concede if Trump wins? What if they say that he did something wrong and that swayed the election? Because their election interference with the weaponization of the judicial system has not worked. 2 assassination attempts has not worked. So it seems that both parties have a win at all costs mentality. But what I want to do now is I want to do a reaction to Pink Book Lessons and the information she's got on the shooter and the situation. This is for fair usage under the 1976 Copyright Act, for education, commentary, and the First Amendment. Let's look at who this shooter is and what's going on.
There has been another reported attempt on the life of Donald Trump, this time in Palm Beach County, Florida, at his golf club. The Palm Beach County Sheriff, the FBI, and Secret Service held a press conference together. Take a look.
Little rules of the road like we always talk about ahead of time. We are going to give you, when I say we have a representative from the FBI, from the Secret Service, from the State Attorney's Office. We are going to give you everything we have. Everything. All right? So when we get done, think about your questions, because we're not going to take a lot. And keep them to the information that you heard. Don't get into what ifs, and because of this, we're not going to go there. All right? So keep that in mind, and we'll be good. So here we go. All right, 1:30 this afternoon. Call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the...
So I'm going to say, what if? What if a citizen wouldn't have seen the car and took the picture? You mean the guy would have got totally away? What kind of security are they providing for Donald Trump? People like to say, well, he's going to say he's not the sitting president. First of all, once you're president, you're referred to as president for the rest of your life. And you have Secret Service security for the rest of your life. Because notably, Barack Obama has more security than Donald Trump. Because he's an ex-president. So at some point in time, is this the weakest Secret Service that we've seen in this country? That without the help of citizens and just coincidence, they keep barely protecting this man? Listen to what he's finna say. This guy, he's really he's really flipping about it.
License plate readers. And we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy. After that, we took the witness that witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is an AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of. So those are being processed right now. The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation. We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect. We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're going to book him into the county jail and the charges that he's going to be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture of him and we'll get you his background. So now I'm going to turn it over to the representative of the Secret Service, and he's going to make a brief statement.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I first want to thank all of our law enforcement partners, to include the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office, for their involvement today. Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed following a protective incident shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International Golf Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line.
Want fuller and thicker hair in 3 to 6 months? You've got to use Hinge Prescription Hair Loss Spray. This bad boy contains finasteride and
And this matter is under investigation. I'll turn it over to my partners over at the FBI.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Veltri. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office. The FBI has assumed the role as the lead federal law enforcement agency in the investigation of the incident that occurred earlier today at Trump International Golf Course here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We've deployed a number of resources, including the investigative teams, crisis response team members, bomb technicians, and evidence response team members as well. What we need right now is for the public to avoid the area around the golf course. We will continue to support this investigation with the full resources of the FBI.
I want to interject right now. I want people on the left to think about this. And I'm talking about the average citizen. Think about how this country is being ran, and think about what actually happens if this violence increases. Think about going to grocery stores, going to church, going to work, your day to day life, and somebody attacks you. Some political motivated violence based on the division in this country, the hatred in this country. You know, hate begets hate. You hate Trump so much and you hate his supporters so much. What happens if they start to hate you back that much? What happens then? You know, people put vote for Harris and Walsh signs in their front yard. You know what I mean? So now think about it. You are identifying yourself with a political party because you got the sign on your front door. You got the bumper sticker. But your party is spewing hate toward their political opponents or their political adversaries, however they choose to view MAGA, Trump, and the Republicans. What happens if you start to be a target? Have you ever thought about that? I know when you make your post and you happy that somebody is attempting to take Trump's life and people saying, oh, they shouldn't have missed and different things. What happens when it's reversed and it comes back your way? What happens if it's not an amateur that decides to take matters into their own hands and starts that? Because that's where it seems this country is headed. You know, the left says they don't support political violence, but the language coming from the likes of Joy Reid and Roland Martin and the D.L. Hugleys and the Democratic Shields is provocative. But they walk around with security. They have security every day. What about the average citizen who's not informed enough to realize that they just witnessed a coup with Joe Biden being removed, and you have a candidate running for office who has never received one vote in a primary? You've just seen a whole coup. You've seen Hillary Clinton come out talking about arresting people for free speech, censorship. Think about where we're going. Have y'all ever read the book 1984 or seen the movie 1984? You should look towards it, because the way that they were calling Donald Trump fascist makes me think that most people don't even know what a fascist is. They have no idea. It's just a word that they use to insult him. You know, comparing him to Hitler. What about Trump is Hitlerish? But they say it so much that the ignorant people on the left, they parrot it and repeat it. You ask the average black person why they hate Trump, they can't even tell you. They're just being swayed by the media. The media, mainstream media that is driving this rhetoric that has this country divided and looking at each other as enemies. And as the Bible says, no house divided will stand. So every day we move closer to the collapse of what they call democracy. Let's look at some more of this.
Alongside our partners with the United States Secret Service, and the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, as well as Martin County Sheriff's Office and state and local law enforcement. I would ask that if anyone has any information that may assist with this investigation, to contact our tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or at tips, that's TIPS .fbi.gov. Thank you.
David?
Hi, I'm Dave Ehrenberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County. I want to thank Sheriff Bradshaw and our partners at the local, state, and federal levels. I'm here because our prosecutors are currently working up warrants and a motion for pretrial detention for the suspect. In that way, he will be kept in custody. But our filing of these warrants and charges at the state level does not preclude federal charges that could be coming. But in the meantime, it looks like the warrants and the pretrial detention motion will happen first. And again, I want to thank the cooperation we've had with our federal partners and at the local level. And thank you all for being here today.
Okay, we're going to make these pictures available to you. It'll show you a picture of the backpack and the rifle. And there's also a GoPro on the fence there where he was intent on filming what was going on. Even though we're going to have to secure a couple areas around the golf course here, the public doesn't need to panic. We know that we got a post office, a library, and a school down the street. So we'll make it convenient for you to get to all the places you need to go, get your kids to school, get them over here to the post office or wherever else you need to go. It's safe. There's no more danger here, and we'll make it very convenient for you.
What's your credit card debt balance? If it's $10,000 or more, here are 3 easy solutions you can start implementing today. And number 3 is an absolute game changer.
So having said that, we're going to take a very limited amount of questions, and you can direct them to who you want to answer the question.
Sheriff, did this individual make any statements as he was being detained?
No statement right now as far as his involvement in the incident, and there's further investigation to be completed.
What was his demeanor like?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the service gentleman answered. I misunderstood, or couldn't understand. So there was a rifle. So one of your agents saw on the golf course saw a rifle pointing to a fence. Was it a chain? Okay. So he saw that, the agent.
That is correct, yes.
And the president or the former president was on the course behind him. How close?
It was 1 or 2 holes behind.
What is that?
That because the bubble moves through the golf course, so our agents will get there first, clear it. He noticed that the rifle was pointed out. Our agents engaged. We are not sure right now if the individual was able to take a shot at our agents, but for sure our agents were able to engage with the suspect. I don't know that.
So it doesn't appear so.
Now, how far away was the president? How far away was Donald Trump when this gentleman was caught and stopped?
Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
For the Secret Service, how far was your agent from the assailant?
That I'm not sure right now. We're still looking into it.
Because of the 4 rounds of ammunition fired, was all 4 of them from your agent?
That is correct. 4 to 6. We're not sure yet.
Was there a long distance? Explain why.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering what how this was able to happen, and for future reference, is there any security in the golf course?
I didn't hear that. Say that one more time and talk up a little bit.
So how was this able to happen, and for future reference, is there any security in the golf course?
Well, you got to understand the golf course is surrounded by shrubbery. So when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right? And at this level that he is at right now, he's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around it. But because he's not, security is limited to the area.
Think about that statement. I think he's going to regret making that statement. That statement is not going to age well. Because he's not the sitting president, we're giving him inadequate or subpar security. Because if he was the sitting president, we would have had the whole golf course surrounded. But he is an ex-president who's the candidate for this election, and there's already been one attempt on his life. So what he just said is suspect. Why wouldn't he have more security, and why wouldn't they surround the whole golf course? That made no sense. I don't think that statement is going to age well by saying what he said and the way he said it, because just a few months ago, somebody took a shot at Trump at a rally. That would demand more security than he has. But this guy just said, well, he gets the bare minimum basically because he's not the sitting president. Wow.
That the Secret Service deems possible. So I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there'll probably be a little bit more people around the perimeter. But the Secret Service did exactly what they should have done. They provided exactly what the protection should have been, and their agent did a fantastic job.
Which direction was the stronger? Were they going north, south? I guess east, west, south is the road.
So the layout of the golf course, you've got 3 holes, 5, 6, and 7. Right? One of them runs parallel to Summit Boulevard. One of them runs parallel to Congress. And he was in an area in the shrubbery where he could see both holes. So the president was another hole back, which means he's about between 400 and 500 yards away.
So he was on the golf course.
Oh, he's on the golf course, yeah, but he's back a ways.
For the Secret Service, have you guys changed at all the way that you guys are protecting former President Donald Trump? This is now a potential second attempt on him. Can you just elaborate on how things have changed and what you made of all this?
Yes, the threat level is high. We have increased the amount of assets that we've supported. So we live in danger times. So yes.
We're done with questions right now. There's really nothing more for us to add. Just want to tell you, the Secret Service and the FBI and the State Attorney's Office have been fantastic to work with. And I can tell you right now, our agency with this real-time crime center was fabulous. That's how we got the guy. We started out with, we don't know anything, to where we had a tag.
That's a lie. Because had it not been for the civilian witness that took a picture of the car and the license plate, he was in the wind. They had to call another county and tell them to use their license readers to catch him. What if that citizen would not have got the plate and took the picture? Then they would have never caught him. See, you got to read between the lines when they're trying to spin a story, because in the beginning he told you that it was a citizen that had to identify him, that took pictures of the car and all that. Their Secret Service knew absolutely nothing other than there was somebody in the bushes with a rifle. Think about it.
We had a vehicle description, and we got an area where we saw the person. So be proud of your law enforcement.
No.
All right. Thanks, folks. We'll get back to you.
Okay, that right there is a picture of the fence where the guy was standing at in the bushes, just 300 to 500 feet away from Donald Trump. They found a backpack there along with a GoPro. He was filming the whole situation. They also found the gun.
We also want to take you to Florida right now, where the man accused of what appears to be an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump appeared in a federal courtroom today. The suspect is 58-year-old Brian Wesley Ruth. He's charged with federal gun crimes. Police say he pointed an AK-47 style rifle at Donald Trump while the former president golfed in West Palm Beach yesterday. In fact, we just got new body camera video just a moment ago showing the moment he was captured by deputies. Watch this.
Driver! Take 2 steps to your right! Take 2 steps to your right! Driver! Walk straight back! Keep walking!
Deputies there made quick work of that arrest. Well, this morning, President Joe Biden reacted to that attempted attack, saying Congress needs to step in to give the Secret Service the help and the resources they need. Listen.
I think thank God, President Joe.
Let this soft mineral melt in your mouth to rebuild your gums and teeth and never need a dentist again. Did you know there is a natural way?
Okay. I think we got a full report so far. We're down there tonight. But one thing I want to make clear, the service needs more help. And I think the Congress should respond to their needs if they, in fact, need more services.
CBS News national correspondent Manuel Bojorquez joins us live now from West.
Joe Biden, you're the president. The Congress don't have to order him more Secret Service. You can demand that he has more Secret Service agents protecting him. You or Kamala can demand that. It's within your purview. You have the power to do that.
Beach. What are they saying about this guy? What do we know about his background, Manuel?
Well, it was in the federal courthouse behind me here in West Palm Beach where we learned a little bit more about him and also about the charges that he is facing right now. Those charges: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial numbers. They carry a maximum punishment combined of 20 years in prison. The judge asked him if he understood the charges. He said yes. He also said he understood that he had the right to remain silent. What we found very interesting inside the courtroom was his demeanor, and it matches what the sheriff of Martin County has been saying about him, and that you saw in the body cam video there, that he seems very calm and relaxed given the gravity of what he is accused of doing yesterday. In fact, in the courtroom when he was seated next to the...
And the reason that he feels calm, he feels justified. He feels like a hero. The left has been saying that Trump is Hitler and a fascist and all these type of things. So in this man's mind, he either wanted to be a martyr or a hero. He think he did the right thing. That's because they have painted a narrative that Trump is a threat to democracy. This guy wears the flag. You're going to find out that this guy even went to Ukraine. And think about that. When you have a president that doesn't want wars, but the global elites thrive off wars and chaos around the world, then Donald Trump becomes a threat, not to democracy. He becomes a threat to globalism. Donald Trump becomes a threat to a one world order. He is not one of them. He is not one of them. You can see that he's not one of them by the way they keep trying to take him out. And all you have to do is think to yourself, when was the last time you seen a president shot? Ronald Reagan. Then after that, there was no more attempts because the security knew the elements in this country and they secured him better. This is the second attempt on Trump in only a few months. Think about it.
Public defender. He was at times smiling and laughing. We couldn't hear their conversation, but definitely did not seem like somebody who was concerned about the kind of charges that he is facing. It was also interesting that at this preliminary point in this hearing, we did not hear anything about an attempted assassination or the former president's name being mentioned. This was a hearing that went just less than 10 minutes before saying that he will be back in court next week to see if he will be held for pretrial detention. In other words, whether he will receive bond or not.
Manuel Bojorquez is fresh from the courtroom where that all played out. We look forward to more reporting from you in the weeks ahead. Thank you so much for streaming with us today. All right, so when we come back, we're going to be talking to CBS News senior foreign correspondent Holly Williams a little bit later in this broadcast on reports that she did by way of an interview with Ruth about his traveling to Ukraine in hopes of helping that country's fight with Russia. A lot of discovery. We are familiar with him because our organization has interviewed him before. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is set to meet with the acting director of the Secret Service today. And CBS News campaign reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins us live now. Olivia, any indication of what the former president or his camp have to say about the events of the weekend?
Well, Reed, we're starting to hear reaction from the former president in the last several hours. He spoke with Fox News, where he said that the suspect believed rhetoric of Biden and Harris, laying the essentially what could have happened to him yesterday at the feet of Biden and Harris, saying that they are increasing rhetoric against Trump himself, talking about him being a, quote, threat to democracy. And he's saying that the suspect perhaps believed it and acted on it. That is Trump's.
Trump's Project 2025 would take Black America backwards. It would strip.
And it's ironic that that commercial came on about Project 2025. Trump has nothing to do with Project 2025. But yet, they keep saying it and keep accusing him of being an architect or some part of Project 2025 and saying all the negative things it will do to people. I mean, it's getting to the point where they lie with the most vicious lies that people embrace. You know, I have people in my community, they always talking about Project 2025. And if you tell them, he has nothing to do with that. He has Project 47, you know, and he's showing you on his website what his plans are. So what makes you believe these things? The Democrats have actually created a narrative around Trump, which has made him an enemy to the state. And they know that with their rhetoric, and they know that there are people who are believing in their lies and acting on them. Why is it so important for them to move Trump out of the way before election time? Just think of all the lawfare and the bogus cases against him. What is he a threat to? I think he's a threat to the deep state. He's a threat to globalism. He's a threat to the anti-Christian, anti-God movement. He's a threat to the socialism and communism that's coming from the left. So, as we get closer and closer to November the 5th, keep your eyes open because something else is going to happen. You can just know something else is going to transpire because it's imperative to the left that they do everything that they can to stop Trump before November 5th. And it's going to be by any cost. Because when you see the narrative, just like that commercial, Trump's Project 2025, they just saying that knowing the man doesn't know anything about it. He's told you. You know? And they keep saying it because they're using fascist tactics because a lie repeated enough becomes the truth in the minds of people. So this guy actually thought he was doing something good. And it's no coincidence that him and the first shooter had ties to BlackRock. And what would make this guy go to Ukraine and then come back, go to Ukraine to help the Ukrainians fight, and then come back and try to take out an American? Kind of smells Manchurian candidate-ish, don't it? I'm going to end this on that note. This is Detroit's HPTV, signing to you out of Detroit. Support the nonprofit, Detroit's Black Thought and Action Collective. The Cash App is in the description. Y'all got to put your thinking caps on. This guy this guy went to Ukraine to fight. And now he's back. And people don't really see where his idea to attack Trump comes from. It comes from the rhetoric. It comes from the lies. It comes from the orange man bad mentality. It comes from Trump derangement syndrome. So, signing out again. Salute to all patriots. Keep your head on the swivel. Peace. Like, share, and subscribe.